A man smiles at you. He shakes your hand. He speaks in perfect politeness. His suit is pressed, his tone practiced, his gaze steady. To the untrained eye, he is admirable, confident, likable, safe. Yet something inside you tightens. You cannot name it, but it is there. The smile feels staged. The laugh feels rehearsed. The performance is too perfect. And in that uneasy silence between his words, you sense something darker pulsing beneath. Carl Jung warned us, the persona is the mask, the necessary lie we wear to survive in society. But like all masks, it cracks under pressure. No matter how polished the surface, the unconscious reveals itself in two places, two cracks through which the raw, unedited psyche seeps out. If you want to know who someone really is, not just who they pretend to be, not who they advertise themselves to be, but their truest character, you can strip away the illusion by watching for these two hidden signals. Because the soul, no matter how carefully disguised, always reveals itself when it believes you are not looking. And once you learn to see these two things, you will never unsee them again. Jung believed that the essence of a person is not revealed in the stories they tell about themselves. Words are thin armor, fragile, rehearsed, manipulated. Anyone can curate a biography, sculpt an image, memorize a script. But character, real character, bleeds out in moments they cannot stage. It leaks from their unconscious behaviors, their instinctive reactions, their unguarded gestures. The thesis is simple, but absolute. If you want to see someone's true character, pay attention to just two things: how they treat the powerless and how they respond to frustration. These are Jung's hidden litmus tests of the psyche. They are not glamorous, they are not obvious, but they cut deeper than any self-description. Because when someone has no incentive to pretend, when they cannot gain advantage, and when the stress of reality tears the mask, they show you who they are. Let me paint you a scene. A man enters a restaurant. He is polite to the hostess. He beams at his business partners. He shakes the waiter's hand as though performing for an invisible audience. His words drip with courtesy. He is immaculate until the waiter makes a mistake. The wrong drink arrives, the food takes a little longer, and suddenly the air shifts. The smile is gone, the voice sharpens. He belittles, condescends, mocks. The mask collapses. In that flicker of impatience, the shadow breaks free. Jung warned us to watch for these fractures. Therein lies the unconscious truth being revealed. Or imagine a woman adored in her social circle. She is lively, charming, endlessly warm to those who can amplify her status. In gatherings, her laughter fills the room, and her kindness feels contagious. But then notice her with the janitor, the cashier, or the delivery driver. Her eyes glaze, her tone hardens. She becomes dismissive, indifferent, sometimes downright cruel. She cannot see them because they cannot elevate her. And in that neglect, there is her true character. The mask glitters in the banquet hall. The shadow is unveiled in the forgotten corridors of the everyday. Most of what you admire in others is not authenticity, it is performance. The polished speaker rehearsed their charm. The friendly colleague fine-tuned their persona. The romantic partner in early courtship crafted a carefully engineered version of themselves. Jung warned us that the persona is a costume woven to fit into society. It is a necessary adaptation, but it is never the full truth. But frustration, that is not rehearsed. It emerges raw. When plans collapse, when desires are denied, when someone is embarrassed, their unconscious reacts. And that reaction is not chosen. It is revealed. And the powerless, those who offer no reward and no punishment, strip away strategy. There is no benefit in pretending kindness, no social currency in respect. What remains is not performance. It is a revelation. Think about it. You do not know someone by how they behave in calm waters. You know them by how they behave in the storm. You do not know them by how they speak to equals. You know them by how they treat those they could ignore. This is the reframe. Character is not performance, it is pressure. It is who they are when there is nothing to gain. It is who they are when everything is at risk. So let us name these two signs clearly. Jung's secret X-rays of the psyche. 1. Treatment of the powerless. Watch how someone acts toward waiters, janitors, assistants, customer service representatives, children, animals. The powerless cannot punish. The powerless cannot elevate. So when someone is kind in these moments, it is not calculation, it is essence. When someone is cruel in these moments, it is not a mistake, it is revelation. 2. Response to frustration. Observe the moments when life does not bend to their will. The flight is delayed. The project fails. The traffic stops. The universe denies them. Do they meet reality with humility, or do they erupt with arrogance? Do they collapse into rage, or can they adapt with grace? Frustration punctures the mask, and the shadow steps forward. The shadow never lies. Together, these two signals form a mirror of character. Together, they slice through performance and reveal the naked soul. You may be wondering, how do I use this? How do I see beneath the mask without paranoia? Jung's method was not about cynicism, but about clarity. To practice it, follow 3 steps. Step 1. Detach from appearances. When someone impresses you, pause. Do not fall in love with their words, their style, their self-description. Remember, the mask is never the man. The story is never the soul. Step 2. Stage observation. Look sideways. Watch the invisible exchanges, the way they treat a server, the way they respond to a janitor, the way they look at someone who can offer nothing. Do not analyze one moment. Observe patterns over time. One slip may be fatigue, but consistency reveals the person behind the mask. Step 3. Watch during stress. Notice their tone when things collapse. Do they erupt, demean, deflect blame? Or do they breathe, adapt, accept? Watch not once, but repeatedly. Anyone can hold composure for a day. True character is revealed in repetition. This protocol moves you from being seduced by image to being anchored in truth. At first, this new sight will disturb you. You will see shadows where once you saw light. People you admire will shrink before your eyes. The charismatic colleague, the charming friend, the adored lover. Suddenly their treatment of the powerless shatters the illusion. Their cruelty under frustration reveals the hollow beneath the glitter. But there is a second transformation too. Just as false idols collapse, hidden nobility emerges. You will notice the colleague who never loses composure under pressure. The stranger who shows quiet kindness to those ignored. The person who holds dignity when the world denies them. They glow in ways you never noticed before. This is because true character is silent. It does not announce itself. It reveals itself only in these uncurated moments. And suddenly, your alliances shift. You no longer seek out the loudest charisma. You seek out the quiet strength. You no longer measure people by their charm. You measure them by their essence. This lens is not small. It reframes how you see everything. Leadership, friendship, love, all of it. Think of politics. Think of business. Think of the family you build. How many illusions dominate because people chase appearances? How many disasters unfold because leaders are chosen for charisma, not for character? Jung's 2 tests cut through the fog. They show you who can be trusted with power, who can be trusted in crisis, who can be trusted when no one is watching. In a world obsessed with branding, performance, and self-promotion, this clarity is rebellion, because it cuts deeper than the image. It asks, when status is stripped, when stress intrudes, who remains? And that, Jung argued, is the only question that matters. This principle is not confined to modern psychology. It is ancient. It echoes through myth, scripture, history, and literature, and always contains the same lesson. Character is revealed in power and in pressure. Let's examine a few examples of this. In myth, consider Odysseus, shipwrecked and wandering. His cleverness and adaptability in hardship reveal not just cunning, but resilience. His moments of arrogance, however, show the shadow of pride that dogs him through the epic. Heroes are not defined by triumph, but by how they act when stripped of control. In religion, in the Christian gospel, Christ declares, "Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me." The powerless, the poor, the sick, the forgotten are the true test of compassion. Likewise, in Buddhism, patience in suffering is the highest virtue. Both traditions mirror Jung. How you treat the least powerful and how you endure frustration defines your soul. In history, look at Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. Despite ruling Rome, he wrote in his meditations about the necessity of humility, patience, and kindness, even toward servants and enemies. Contrast this with tyrants like Caligula or Stalin, men who demanded loyalty but revealed monstrous shadows in rage and cruelty when reality opposed them. In literature, Shakespeare encoded this law into his plays. King Lear is undone not by his power, but by how he collapses into fury when denied flattery. Meanwhile, characters like Kent show quiet nobility in loyalty and patience when stripped of status. The powerless and the frustrated reveal the truth beneath the words. From myth to scripture, history to drama, the same law stands. When masks are stripped by stress or power imbalance, the soul speaks. Jung did not invent this principle. He rediscovered it, gave it psychological form, and warned us never to ignore it. But be careful. This lens is sharp, and like all sharp tools, it can cut the one who wields it. Do not hunt flaws obsessively. Do not condemn someone for one moment of weakness. Everyone snaps occasionally. Everyone loses patience. Jung himself warned, "The unconscious is complex. Shadows are not sins, they are truths. The goal is not judgment. The goal is clarity." Use this lens not to punish. Use it to protect yourself from illusion. Use it to see more clearly whom you can trust. And just as importantly, turn the lens inward. Ask, how do I treat the powerless? How do I respond to frustration? Because the same mirror that reveals others will reveal you. So how do you build character instead of just diagnosing it? You invert the test. Practice kindness toward those who cannot repay you. Make it a daily ritual. Smile at the cashier. Thank the janitor. Treat the assistant with dignity. Train your psyche to express integrity when there is no reward. And in moments of frustration, breathe. Slow down. Pause before the eruption. Practice grace under stress. With each repetition, you close the gap between your persona and your essence. Over time, the mask and the man grow closer. The persona and the self begin to unify. And when that happens, you become unshakable, because there is no gap for the world to exploit. So I will leave you with two questions. Who are you when no one important is watching? And who are you when life blocks your path? These are not abstract riddles. They are the mirrors of your soul. Dare to look into them. Dare to answer. And if you do not like the reflection, dare to change. Because in the end, Jung reminds us, you cannot hide from your own unconscious. You can only integrate it. You can only transform. If you felt your stomach twist while listening, good. That is the signal of truth scraping against illusion. Do not turn away from it. In the next video, we will dive deeper, the psychological environments that will destroy your mind. Subscribe now, so you don't miss the moment the unconscious speaks aloud and reveals far more than the mask ever could.